Welcome back. Today we're breaking down a live Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft with rookies and, of course, some more free agency reactions. A couple signings happened after we signed off yesterday, and we're hoping that we see plenty more signings today. As far as, names that are still out there, we still haven't seen the whole Kyler Murray thing take shape. I think it's possible that doesn't happen until after the league year starts on Wednesday. Romeo Doubs is still out there. Juwan Jennings is still out there. Running back wise, I think most of the names got snapped up yesterday. Allgeier, Walker, and Etienne all signed to their specific teams. Dobbins, we saw as soon as we signed off, really, he goes back to the Broncos on a 2-year, $10 million deal. I don't know. Any thoughts on like the Dobbins deal, the Tua deal, like a couple of the deals that came out after we signed off?
No, all I was gonna say though is it is hilarious in terms of our predictions how like the big name guys, like I'm hitting all the right, and then like the Rico Dowdle to the Steelers, the J.K. Dobbins to the Broncos got you a couple points. So obviously like some people were tracking it. I'll just quickly share the sheet so people can kind of see what's happened so far. Obviously Kyler Murray expected to go to the Vikings. That hasn't happened yet, so we can't really, color it off. But Malik Willis ends up going to Miami Dolphins. I still don't understand how they made it work from a, financial cap perspective. But I guess they have another day to be able to figure it out. So Tua, Falcons, no other moves.
Sorry, really quick before you keep going through this. If you guys want to join the draft that we're about to do, the link is in the chat right now. And while we wait for the draft to fill, we'll quickly talk about the landing spots and whatnot.
Good disclaimer. Obviously, guys, like we'll see what happens with Derek Carr and Rodgers. Looks at this point, it's going to be Daniel Jones to the Colts, but also like they haven't agreed to a full extension yet, so we'll see what ends up materializing. Kirk Cousins still available. Maybe the Dolphins won't sign a backup because they signed Malik Willis, but at the same time, if Kirk Cousins is going to come for a vet minimum Tua style like $1.5 million, at that point, I realistically think either of those AFC East teams could really make a push. So actually, I can mark this off red because Marcus Mariota did in fact re-sign with Washington. So my bonus didn't end up hitting there. Whereas yours, you can still hit here with Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson to the 49ers probably ain't happening because Mac Jones is going to stay there most likely. But
hey,
that was I should get 5 points if that happens. To be honest, if they trade Mac Jones and Zach Wilson signs there, that should be a wrap. That should just win.
Imagine. Rachaad White, we'll see where he goes. Is he a Commander? Is he a Bengal? Does he go
Jaguar would be my guess. I think would make sense given the Liam Cohen connection and the fact that they lost Etienne.
I should have swapped Pacheco and Rachaad White. That actually would have made so much more sense, but you live and you learn.
I did. I'm glad I did the hedge with Rachaad White though, because I have 2 swings on the Commander's landing spot and no one won it yet, and no one is there yet. So
yeah, no. Tony Pollard, we'll see what ends up happening there. Obviously, the Titans are rumored for Jeremiyah Love. So we'll see. AJ Brown to the Patriots. Again, I still think they're going to keep working the tire there. So we'll see. Brian Thomas Jr. So there's more rumblings he's going to get traded, but obviously the 49ers just signed Mike Evans. So
I'm screwed there. There's no way I'm getting that, but it's possible that you're screwed.
We could both get red.
End up getting dealt. We're about 4 more spots away from starting the draft, by the way, if anybody wants to join the draft. We are going to be doing a super flex startup mock, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. We're going to do a 3rd round reversal as well, especially get a good feel for like where these new guys are going and startups and stuff. And of course, we're doing our listener league next week, and drawings for that end on Sunday. So this should be good practice for that.
For sure. Romeo Doubs, again, big decision. You had the 49ers, but also you had Brandon Ayuk to the Commanders. So, like, depending on who the Commanders sign there, either of us can get a swing.
I still think there's a good chance that Ayuk goes to the Commanders. I think that feels like a pretty good.
Imagine they both go. Imagine they both went.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
That would be crazy.
Juwan Jennings, man. I picked the Steelers, and the Steelers went another, power.
Mine's still alive.
Big. But yeah, no, it definitely is still
Jennings
alive.
To me feels like the pivot if the Patriots don't get AJ Brown.
Ugh, that's so gross. Deebo Samuel, I kind of have as a Jet. You have as a Dolphin. Similar type of vibe there. Saints, I had more of like a vertical slot. You had obviously more of like a power forward style with Jennings. So we'll see what direction they go. Deebo Samuel, we were talking about. Tyreek Hill, like we mentioned, Falcons. I don't actually.
I was on the right track with Christian Kirk to the Cardinals. They needed a slot receiver. They just signed Kendrick Bourne instead. If I had picked Bourne to the Cardinals,
I didn't even see that signing, eh?
Yeah, I know. It sucks. I missed out on that. But anyways, sorry. I want to put the board back on so people in the draft here. So we got three more spots available in this draft, and then we'll get it going quickly because they did happen after the fact, Danny, when we signed off. Does J.K. Dobbins go up in value now that he re-signed with the Broncos? To me, I think that was one of the better runouts that he could have had just because we've already seen him in that situation. We know he was like a top 5 running back in rush yards over expected last year. And we've also seen him like already be the starter over Harvey when healthy. So that was like the other thing that I thought. I think that was as good of a situation in a run out for Dobbins as he could have gotten with 2 years, 10 million, 8 million guaranteed. Like it's a pretty decent contract for a guy who can't stay healthy.
I was just going to say he got more than fucking Javonte Williams. I just took that in on a per year basis.
Dude, I think you can argue J.K. Dobbins versus Jalen Warren, David Montgomery, Chuba Hubbard in Dynasty. Like, I think he's going to have that much of a runway to actually be the starter right away.
Yeah. I think overall, obviously a huge win for J.K. Dobbins. You get an elite offensive line. He was playing well before the injury. He was playing ahead of R.J. Harvey in terms of between the tackles instances. I still think it's going to be a committee, but at the same time, that's going to be a conversation point this summer. Why draft R.J. Harvey in round 6 when you could get J.K. Dobbins in round 9? Like, there's going to be backfields like this, and obviously hitting on the Denver backfield is going to be one of the biggest league winners in fantasy because if it is R.J. Harvey taking that step, well, you get a young pass-catching running back that has third down appeal, of course. And with J.K. Dobbins, like you said, touchdown equity, high-performing offense. I think both can be values, but realistically, I'm much more going to be on the J.K. Dobbins side in summer.
Yeah, no, same. We'll see where they end up going. It's possible that the market corrects itself and, Dobbins goes a little higher than Harvey even potentially. Well, I don't anticipate that to be the case because Harvey's a rookie or was a rookie and people like young players typically. So
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Patrick Queen guy. Unfortunately for us, Nakobe Dean got a similar offer, I guess, with the Raiders and decided to go there, which I don't know what he's doing. Just go rot your career away with the Raiders is fine, be my guess. We got Quay Walker obviously also going to the Raiders. I don't know if that was like a package deal or something just to cuck us, but like, hey,
apparently, they're gonna grab all the Georgia linebackers, and I'm pretty shocked that Lloyd got as little money as he did from Carolina. I thought Lloyd was gonna get more money than that for sure.
Yeah. Also, ambiguity said in the chat, like his gut told him like to go with the Raiders instead of the Cowboys offer. That's so ridiculous.
Got to do it. Yeah, you got to follow your gut, man. Everyone's got to follow their guts.
I will say though, I would have wanted Lloyd, but at the same time, I knew he had medicals coming like in his draft year. Maybe the Cowboys were one of the teams that flagged that. Like, there's a lot more behind the scenes in terms of like, oh, well, the Cowboys need linebacker. Why didn't they go after Devin Lloyd? Like, I'm sure they had a valid reason because on paper, second team All Pro, $15 million per year. Like, you should make that signing, but I'm curious what their rationale was for not taking that type of opportunity. You know what I mean? Never know what the red flags are.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that happened yesterday that we talked about, but we didn't talk about like the fantasy implications of. You're a contending team right now.
Yep.
Who would you rather have between DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton, and Jacoby Myers? Rank those 5 players.
I think I'll lean Metcalf there. Who were the other 4 you mentioned?
Terry, Evans, Sutton, and even let's go Godwin.
Is this redraft or is this Dynasty?
Just Dynasty, because they're all competitive team type of assets. So I don't want to say like who would you rather have, Jaden Higgins or Mike Evans, a completely different team that you'd be on.
I'll probably go DK, Sutton, Terry. Those are the top 3 in my opinion. And then the other 2 were Evans and
like Godwin or Jacoby Myers or anybody in that competitive range.
Yeah, I would say Evans and then those 2. I'm still a little bit worried. I
think I'm more on the side of Evans over Sutton. Like if I had to pick one of them, like they're both in their 30s. I think Evans has a higher like spike week potential in my flex, puts up more points potential than Sutton does. But I think Sutton's a little safer in terms of like durability and whatnot.
I think that's the worry here. They're relatively in the same tier, except I just have like a wide range between 29 DJ Moore and 41 Ricky Pearsall kind of all clumped together.
Sure. Fellas, we need one more of you to join this draft so that we can get it started. I'm not going to start it with one empty spot because that'll annoy me. So one more of you in the chat right now. Head to flockfantasy.com. You do not need a paid account to join the draft with us. You could have a free account and claim that final spot so we can get this mock draft going. For those of you guys that are watching after the fact, we'll have timestamps when the draft actually begins. But yeah, Evans is a hard one to figure out because he's not he's obviously not on the level of like Davante Adams to the Rams last year, where it's like, yeah, I know he's a competitive older wide receiver, but you'd probably take him over a lot of the like young upside swing pieces. Like Davante Adams was going inside the top 25 to 30 wide receivers in Dynasty last year. Even despite the situation of him being older, I don't think Evans is quite on that level, but it wouldn't shock me if Evans put up 130, 140 targets this year.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see it. San Francisco clearly one of the biggest wins he could have, went to if he was to leave Tampa. Um, I wanted to ask you, speaking of Tampa, like, is Levante David completely fried chicken? Like, is he cooked?
I don't know if he's fried as in like he's done. Like I think it's very possible he retires, especially knowing that that Evans is gone, and maybe we go in a little bit more of a younger direction. I think with Evans gone, you can probably say comfortably to Levante, like, hey, we'd love to have you back if you want to play, but like it might be like that might be a sign that maybe you should move on, kind of thing.
Well, like, do you think he's still a starting caliber player? Do you think he's more of a rotational backer at this point?
He's a rotational backer at this point, probably more of an early down guy. He can cover running backs and whatnot, but like you throw a guy with like just like he has
not
no
the same mobility.
Jameer Gibbs or somebody like that. Like he just doesn't have a chance. Like if you want to throw him against a regular check down Charlie kind of running back in coverage, or a tight end who's not super athletic, like he can do that. But mainly at this point, his above the shoulders game of diagnosing plays and whatnot is his best attribute, kind of thing. So this is a super flex draft, by the way.
I'm just gonna take my 101.
Why is the board so blanked out like that? Oh, because I had my name clicked. I was wondering why the hell that was the case. So you go Drake May, Jackson Smith and Jigba goes with the first pick there.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely an interesting start to the draft. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if people take the route that Jordan takes here, which is not going or not opting for the quarterback in the first round, because the significance of those top receivers who are all in their prime, or those top running backs who are all in their prime, can carry you on a dynasty competitive type of roster if you feel comfortable in the quarterback options round 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I just think with Drake May, though, you're getting, potential top 3 production at that age. Like, to me, even despite the quarterback position looking relatively even, like compared to previous years, at the same time, I just have so much flexibility going forward. I don't have to worry about, grabbing an early quarterback too, unless I get a good value. I don't have to realistically reach up the board. And at the same time, the 2-3 turn, like the 102 is going to be there. Wide receivers, I like. Maybe a Drake London falls a little bit. Like there's a lot of options at that 2-3 turn. I guess in a third round reversal, I just clocked in. At the 3-4 turn, I'm probably going to have to take 2 wide receivers, but realistically, at that 2-11, it's going to be a BPA approach between whatever running back or whatever wide receiver falls.
Yeah, no,
like maybe it's a Hampton, like maybe it's a Jeremiah Love wouldn't fall, but like a Hampton, an Etienne, something like that was kind of like the end of their range.
For sure, yeah. Quarterback wise, I want to circle back to this conversation because I feel like we brushed over it a little bit.
Yeah.
The contract details kind of emerged with Malik Willis. And I did want to kind of talk about, okay, what are the implications if the Dolphins are bad? Because as most people would estimate going into the season, they're going to be projected to be a top 5 NFL draft pick, right? I think we can.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins, probably not a situation where most of us are thinking they're going to be a very good team. My question to you is, does Malik Willis have a lot shorter of a shelf life than some people might be thinking then? Because if they have a top 5 draft pick, they're absolutely going to be selecting a top quarterback if one is there. And also too, like the situation around Malik Willis right now, it's like you got Jalen Waddle, you got Devon Achane, but it's not like it's low. Like he would have been much. I think
offensive line was better last year than
going to Arizona, because I think Arizona was the better landing spot.
Maybe, but I do think that the Miami offensive line's a lot better than it was previous years. So I think that's going to be a help. I also think the familiarity, obviously, with Hafley is going to help. And I also think, like you said, like they do have explosive playmakers on that offense, including Willis himself. The defense is going to be better, obviously, with the improved scheme. You maybe draft a corner in round 1 at 11th overall. Like there's possibilities to the point where I don't think Miami is going to be pigeonholed into a top 5 pick. I think they might be closer to 10, maybe even closer to 12 than they are 5.
Maybe,
this year,
they
got the 11th pick.
You got to hope for that, though, if you're Malik Willis. Because if they really bottom out, then this is a Justin Fields situation all over again, and they'll just eat whatever money they have to eat in this second part of the deal and take Arch Manning or whatever quarterback they're in the range for.
Hey, I see you've come to the light.
Like I said, it's just... Yeah, I grabbed Lamb. I figured I wanted to grab a receiver there. I could have gone with Neighbors. I could have gone with St. Brown. I have Neighbors, Lamb, and Amon-Ra all ranked like back to back to back in my startup rankings. So it kind of is just more like, would I feel out the room? Do I want to go competitive? Do I want to go rebuild? Because obviously, if I went with Neighbors there, I'd be kind of forced into going younger. But I do think, given the room that we're in, I might be able to build out a decent competitive team. And also, I kind of want to talk about some of the free agents too, and a lot of that's going to be more competitive discussion. So
I was going to
grab CeeDee Lamb, and then my other pick here could be somewhere like Joe Burrow. Like if I go to my actual rankings here, I do have Caleb Williams ranked a little bit higher than Burrow. Caleb keeps me competitive. I'll roll with Caleb Williams. We'll go CeeDee Lamb, Caleb Williams to start it off.
I was gonna say, I'm like, either way you went there. When Booty Clap was on the clock, by the way, elite name. You had the 2 quarterbacks and the 101 all available. So I'm saying, like, whatever fell to you, you're probably happy about, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Starting like the startup that we're going to be doing, obviously in our listener league, is going to be a really interesting thing because there's going to be a lot of, live reaction kind of stuff going on, given the fact that we're doing the startup right as free agency is going on or right after that initial wave of free agency. So I'm very curious to see the strategic element of our startup, because there's obviously going to be rookie picks in it. How many teams are opting to pick rookie picks? How many teams are opting to go in the direction of competitiveness because they think they can get a discount on, like, your Mike Evans and your Allgeiers of the world, who they might like the landing spots for and whatnot. So we usually do startups in March. Like, it's usually our first startup of the year is sometime in March. And I remember last year you drafted Stephon Diggs while he wasn't on a roster. And then he got signed to the Patriots during the startup.
I sold him
draft
high before the season started.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm just saying, like, that's something that we're really familiar with, is doing drafts during this time of year. So I am curious to go back into the startup and see how many, like, the startups we've done before, and see how many people were kind of going rebuild versus competitive, because our second startup of the year is usually like in June. And I feel like people are tending to go a lot more rebuild than those, because we also typically have Devy elements in those drafts as well.
Yeah. By the way, Corey, apparently the Seahawks are looking into Rachaad White as we speak.
I did see that. Yeah, Rachaad White would make a lot of sense for what they could use. When we talked about the Seahawks as like a team to address the running back position, we did mention that we thought that they would go the NFL draft route. We thought they'd be more in the camp of like, hey, we're going to be the Jadarian Price team, or we're going to grab Jonah Coleman or something like that. I mean, Jonah Coleman's right in their backyard. Like, that would make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, now going to be an interesting pick on the board here, because I said, I like grabbing Drake May there, but at the same time, like, this whole board has just not been taking quarterbacks.
No shot Joe Burrow falls here, right?
Nah, Ronaldo surely takes him. Like, I'm not.
I mean, really Burrow and Allen as a pair, he goes 102 over Burrow.
I mean, I got to do that, but
I mean, you got to take Burrow and Drake May to start. Holy cow, dude.
I was like saying, I'm like, oh shit, like maybe I'll get like an etienne or something to fall, but it's like, fuck, everybody is just avoiding quarterbacks.
Yeah. Back-to-back lives. Yes, sir. I mean, the plan was to go live and talk about more free agency signings, but we kind of looked at it today and we're like, okay, are we going to have enough free agency signings to go through in a whole live stream? So that's why we're doing a mock draft instead. So at least we have something to talk about if not many other signings come through. But yeah, we'll tomorrow we're gonna have like kind of like the risers and the fallers and the skyrocketing and the plummeting and that kind of thing. So hopefully we do get more signings today and tomorrow and whatnot, because I do want to talk about a lot of these guys. But we haven't really seen a ton of action today, so we'll see what happens there. I have Justin Herbert ranked in the mid-second round, so I'm taking him here.
I was gonna say this is a fake quarterback room for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is a super flex draft, fellas, and I mean, I get like pairing Puka and Bowers, pairing Chase and McBride and stuff. It's just like I still want an anchor quarterback. I think in this day and age, 2 anchor quarterbacks is not always necessary. But like when you can get value on Herbert Burrow or value on Herbert, like you and I did, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. I understand it though. People love, the flex position specifically. Even tight ends, you can, make the argument and a half tight end premium fell a little bit at value. We'll also see where Loveland ends up going. But like, yeah, Mahomes and Hurts to me, like anytime they're in the third round, it feels like a really smash value there.
Yeah, especially knowing you can get an anchor at one of those like flex positions or something, and build out like a JSN as your top receiver, and then get a quarterback or 2 quarterbacks. Like even anchoring with Mahomes and Hurts, I feel fine doing, as long as I prioritize my second quarterback. Like if I can start my draft with 2, like let's say you start your draft with 2 flex players, like Puka and Bowers or something, and you're able to get Hurts as your QB1, and then you circle back around, get a Bo Nix or a Jordan Love or somebody like that as your QB2. I feel like that's a pretty good way to start your draft, because then you have anchors at multiple positions. Like I really like the way that that Mr. Ghost started there with Gibbs and Drake London and still getting Mahomes as an anchor quarterback. Like
that's wild.
That feels pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's pretty wild for sure. Like
Yeah,
even like Trevor
quarterback
Lawrence
this year, it's a different dynamic. Normally, like in 2023, I remember you and I, like, it was like, oh my God, we got to get our quarterbacks, only 12 good ones.
Well, everybody rushed them up for sure.
Exactly. So there was that dynamic. Last year, it felt like people really backed off of quarterback twos. Like you could really fade your quarterback 2 position. And this year, I feel like the difference in the markets between, okay, only 12 good quarterbacks and there's 25, 30 quarterbacks we feel good about is there's 18 quarterbacks we feel good about. And if you don't get 2 of them, you're going to feel like you're really behind. So it's like the QB2 rush is almost bigger than the QB1 rush. People will feel out who their first quarterback is, but once Nix and Love and those guys start going off the board, then they go, okay, do I really want CJ Stroud or Sam Darnold as my QB2?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like in a joking tone. It's like back in my day, quarterback 9 would have been off the board by pick 14.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think the key strategic thing that I want to take away, I mean, obviously you guys are listening to this. If you're in the listener league, Danny, you're listening to this, who's going to be in the league. My strategic play, I think, just to give you guys advice over what I actually want to save advice for, is I feel pretty confident in getting my second quarterback maybe a little earlier than some people will want to, because I don't want to be a part of the group that has to start CJ Stroud or Sam Darnold or whoever as my QB2. I think everybody assumes, oh, I'll just take Dak later, I'll just take Mayfield later.
But then
everyone has that mindset, that those quarterbacks actually go a little higher than you'd think.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Like everybody's gonna say, oh, I'll just pivot to Dak. And even have it in the startup last year is the same thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna be, hipster, we're gonna fake quarterbacks, and everybody was starting to trade up and get ahead of people like come round 4, come round 5. Kylers of the world were actually going in that range at that time. Unfortunately, I took the L in terms of the trade value right before he got like basically skumazed and benched and all that shit that was going on. I had traded for him, so that wasn't fun. But at the same time, like him, Dak, at that time, Lawrence even went like a full, like almost a full round before. Like it got hectic and competitive in terms of getting quarterbacks in those mid rounds.
Yeah, another dynamic I've noticed about QBs this year in Superflex is I think there's enough, let's say QB 25 to 40 people that I feel okay about, that I don't feel rushed to get a good quarterback 3 either. Where I'm like, if I have my Caleb, there you go, Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs, Danny takes it to 402. Caleb Williams and Justin Herbert as my 2 quarterbacks here, I'd be totally fine with like Jacoby Brissett in round 11 and Shadur Sanders in round 12 as my QB 3 and 4. Like, I don't feel the need to go like grab Bryce Young in round 6 because of the 2 quarterbacks that I have already.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
Yeah. So QB 3 is a weird dynamic, and QB 2 to me is a weird dynamic this year. And I think there's a lot more like really high end QB 1s as well. QB 3 is an overrated position, especially when you factor in that it is truly a bench position. And there's been plenty of, championships and situations I've been in where I never had a QB 3 going into the year.
You just pick up a Stafford for a second or some bullshit.
Well, I was going to say I didn't have a QB 3 going into the year. I had Joe Flacco,
Jacoby Brissett,
and Jacoby Brissett on my bench, and they ended up becoming at least a usable QB 3 for me.
By the way, Mason, the fact that like it's basically either even or I'm up 1 because Corey hit on like the Rico Dowdle and the fucking J.K. Dobbins. Like I hit on like the heavy hitters, and Corey's just nailing the fucking.
I'm just nailing the shit cans.
Just nailing the fucking RB2s.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to see. The guy that I want to see sign, I guess maybe he can't sign until tomorrow, it's possible, is I want to see what Brandon Ayuk does. And maybe he won't sign until like August. I think it's possible that happens as well.
If he signs, that feels like a fucking August 28th signing.
Maybe it is. The Tua prediction was nice. To be fair, we both had that prediction. My rationale was stupid. I said that he's left-handed.
He's left-handed.
I was like, he's left-handed. He's going to be cheap. They could use him at the beginning of the season. Like, call me crazy. This is a take, I guess. Tua is better than Michael Penix.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's an outrageous take.
Tua is better than Michael Penix. I don't care what anyone says.
I will say, though, me randomly coming up with the theory that the 49ers would sign Evans, like, where did that even come from? And how did that actually work?
Yeah, I'm on the board here deciding between, I think Odunze to pair with my Caleb Williams makes a lot of sense here. I'm of the camp. What's up?
Take the better Bears receiver.
Nah, I don't want to. I think I'm of the camp that Odunze is the better receiver and fits the offense better. But like they're so close that I'm just going to kind of take whoever's cheaper. And I think Odunze will end up being the cheaper one in most startups. I'm actually going to grab an anchor running back here, and I'm going to grab Chase Brown. So we'll roll Chase Brown as an anchor running back and then see what falls back to us at wide receiver or maybe even at a running back again.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I got sources.
Yeah, exactly. For the Stefanski offense, like I think Penix, some of his biggest problems and flaws is that he doesn't always, hit the easy ones, the layups, the checkdowns, that kind of thing. So I think if Tua can do one thing well, it is make the easy throws.
Yeah. Also, that middle range is going to start fucking panicking at quarterback.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, that's why I'm like happy that I got my option.
That double tap though is nice. Prescott, Goff on a competitive build with Amon-Ra, Jefferson, and Cook. I like.
Yeah, and Mayfield Love is also not bad. With Jeremiah, he's got both Loves on his team. Love is in the air for Booty Clap King here with Jeremiah and Jordan on the same team.
Love is in the air for Booty Clap Air.
Yeah, Booty Clap King with so much love in the air there.
Oh my god.
Okay, so what do I want to do here? Do I want to grab like a Judkins or something and secure another running back? I think I'm going to just grab Odunze here and secure myself another wide receiver.
Interesting.
That's a risky pick, man. Rome's a risky pick because I think you can say objectively that he's been somewhat disappointing relative to his draft capital and what we thought of him as a prospect. I just think Ben Johnson's offense is a lot of mental stuff. And I think that in year 3, Odunze can put it all together. And it's not like we haven't seen Odunze be a highly valued fantasy wide receiver in his career. After the first month of the season, you and I were both thinking this is a guy that might be a top 7 receiver in Dynasty. So
for me, I think Luther Burden.
That's fine. If somebody wants to say I'm not high on Rome because I'm super high on Luther Burden, to me, that's a really reasonable response. Yeah. I am just of the opinion that they're so effing close that I kind of almost like the fact that Odunze is the more prototypical X, the red zone target, the guy who can win at all 3 levels, whereas I think Burden is still somewhat of a developmental player and limited in some capacity. So it wouldn't again, we'll see what Vegas thinks about these 2 receivers in terms of the yardage that they're projecting and whatnot. I'm just very curious to see how close are they? Is there a clear winner? Is it Rome was wide receiver 11 and Burden was wide receiver 30 or vice versa? Or is it so close that it was completely negligible and we spent all offseason arguing about nothing, where it was Rome's wide receiver 19 and Burden's wide receiver 17?
I wanted Luther to fall. What about Zay Flowers? Because obviously, we couldn't raise him too high because of the concern that, Baltimore, they're in the wide receiver market, but they make that trade for Max Crosby, which inherently takes away their cap space. Also takes away
AJ Brown's definitely off the table for them now at this point.
Well, even we had in the NFL draft, what if they get, a Mekhi Lemon, a Jordan Tyson, a Carnell Tate somehow, or if they trade up? We were kind of wish casting, the Ravens might get another wide receiver, but they don't have the avenues to be able to acquire that at this point. So this offseason so far, you could argue has been a sneaky win for Zay Flowers overall.
Yeah, definitely. And even I actually think even losing Likely in free agency and Kolar in free agency could result in them not running as much heavy personnel and using Flowers a little bit more downfield. Because I think when you run 3 tight end sets all the time, you inherently are going to run a lot of short extension of the run game kind of targets, which Flowers can do. Obviously, it's something that he's really good at. But I think Matt Harmon definitely agrees with this opinion. Guys who study the wide receiver position, Zay Flowers is so much more than just a short, Wan'Dale Robinson type of target. And I actually really wish that the Ravens would put more trust in him to play at X receiver at times, to play down the field at times. And I think we were robbed of a Zay Flowers potential monster breakout season because Lamar Jackson didn't play well. And I think with the defense that they've built up, the all-in kind of nature that the team is in, I feel pretty confident that Flowers could have one of his better seasons of his career. I think they're going to address the wide receiver position at some point, whether it's bringing in a Jawan Jennings. I could see something like that. Or maybe they're the team that, spends a high 2nd round pick on a Chris Brissell or something. I
think that would be great for Flowers.
They could use a field stretching, big bodied wide receiver. So however they get there, whether it's in the draft or in free agency still, because it's not like there's nobody in free agency that fits the bill for that. They just need somebody who can stretch the field a little bit more, and ideally somebody who can play X a little better than Rashad Bateman can play X as well.
Yeah, full transparency, by the way, I'm at a win-win here. I'm taking either BTJ or Flowers. BTJ, obviously the rumors right now, does he get traded to the Jets? If he's back on the Jaguars, obviously we're expecting better health. He's curious to me because obviously there is volatility based off, just how lousy his second year was in relation to what we saw as a rookie. But I don't really think like if you swapped his rookie year with his sophomore year, what would the narrative be on BTJ right now?
I know it's kind of almost like the Egbuka factor of if you flipped his rookie season as well. I think the narrative on BTJ would be extremely bullish if he had done that as a second year player. I think it matters like everybody's collective eye test going, holy crap, this guy was bad. Like,
but like on the inverse, as a rookie, we're like, oh my God, is this guy a top 5 wide receiver in the league? Like there was moments where we were asking that.
It's weird. I don't know if he like, let's say he flames out like the rest of his career. This might be truly the biggest bait and switch of all time.
The like, Justin Blackman of our era.
Yeah. Like this is this is Chase Claypool on crack as far as like how hard we would have gotten baited if he ends up not becoming a great NFL wide receiver. I'd be worried to send a first-round pick for him if I was an NFL team. I would feel comfortable.
I'd give a late first all day.
Giants, Browns, early second-round pick for him. I actually would feel pretty comfortable with that.
If you're the Patriots, you have to make that move.
31. Maybe you do, but I do think there's something to be said for BTJ maybe like really scaring off some of the NFL teams around the league with how disappointing he was.
No, it definitely makes sense. Like I think there's validity to it, but I also think the NFL is going to see, a 6'2", 200+ pound X wide receiver, 4.3 speed, the ability that he showed as a rookie. Not only that, but the overall, target share that he was able to command, the assignments that he had, not to mention playing number 1 corners on the outside. Like he wasn't given any gimmick work. Like he was winning downfield at an alarming rate.
Winning's a strong word this year, but
no. I'm saying as a rookie, like he
was as a rookie. Yeah, I think I wonder if like you kind of just made reference to like maybe the tape caught up a little bit. Like maybe defenses knew how to play against him a little bit more after that rookie season because he did kind of come out of nowhere by the end of that rookie year, and maybe that's a possibility. Or maybe Mac Jones was just a much better stylistic fit for him or something. That's why I picked San Francisco for what it's part of why I picked San Francisco as the landing spot for BTJ is because I figured Mac Jones might be like having something to say about having Brian Thomas on the team as well. Like I thought there might've been a bit of a connection there. So we'll see what happens. I think it's possible he gets traded still. I think if you're a team like Cleveland, they would make a lot of sense. If you're a team like the Jets, like a young team that can afford to give up an early second round pick, if that's all it costs.
He's going to cost more than an early second. That's the issue.
I don't think so, man. I think ultimately if he gets traded, it will go to one of these teams that gives up an early 2. I don't think a team is going to give up a 1 for him.
I think it's more likely to be a 1.
Would have happened already. I think Buffalo would have done it. The Patriots would have done it.
I think it's more likely to be a 1 and 3 right now than it is a 2.
Maybe. I think he ultimately, if he gets dealt, I think ultimately it'll be for an early one of those teams who picks early in the second round, whether it's the Titans, the Jets, the Giants, the Browns, one of those teams.
I would rather trade for BTJ given his age, given his contract, than I would for AJ Brown right now. So
yeah, I would as well. I'd rather take the risk on BTJ. I would want to know like what happened though. Like, were you hurt? Was it?
Well, it's a collarbone. He definitely had a broken collarbone.
I know. It's all over the place with BTJ. So if you feel confident that you can get the best out of him, that's kind of where I'm at with it. He's one of those guys that I don't view as a buy or a sell in Dynasty. If you have him, you've got to just hold and feel out what happens, but I'm not actively selling because I don't think it's worth selling on the upside. And I also am not actively buying because I can see him flaming out. Yeah,
like it's so fascinating because like you got a guy measured at the combine, 6'2" and 7/8, 210 pounds. 4.33 speed, 39-inch vertical. You have what he does as a rookie, over 130 targets, nearly 1,300 receiving yards. It's like that profile is, a first-round fantasy startup player, and he was going at the end of the first round last year, and then you just get this complete other iteration of Brian Thomas Jr., where it's like, where is he? I tend to think that he's closer to what he showed as a rookie because ultimately, when you show it at that level, to me, I think there's more validity in the injury concerns that he had this year. But at the same time, it's like I can't fully discount the concerns this year because they are valid. So
yeah, and like Chasing makes a good point here too. He was a limited route runner. I definitely thought that when he was coming out of LSU.
Mental could be definitely a case,
the Cohen offense. Maybe it was a little too much for him. That kind of thing. Again, we could speculate all we want on Brian Thomas Jr. I guess the question ultimately that you have to ask yourself is who is he actually? Is he rookie year Brian Thomas Jr. or is he second year Brian Thomas Jr.? Because you also got to remember he's only 23 years old. Like it's possible that. We talk about this all the time. Like most receivers don't have their primes from until like year 3 to year 8 of their career. So it's
Well,
possible that he is still figuring things out, and he will, because that's normally what receivers do who are young.
Well, that's why I'm far more willing to buy in, because like his
Oh,
market
the
floor
Jags
is
being willing to get rid of him is the thing that's scaring me.
I
Because
think
if I
that's
was
more so.
Jacksonville, I would have no interest in trading him.
I don't disagree, but I also think there's a factor of like they probably love the other 3 wide receivers on their team and they view him as expendable. And at that point, it's like, yeah, like he's an elite talent, but at the same time, we think Travis Hunter is going to be an elite talent. We think what Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers showed are very good complementary players in this offense. Like, you're not going to get anything to sell Jacoby Myers, who you just traded for and extended. You're not going to get anything if you sell Parker Washington realistic to the value you gave your team. And you already gave up such a haul for Travis Hunter. So I almost feel like with Brian Thomas Jr., feels like the odd man out based off what they can get on the market versus the other investments that they have on their team.
Yeah, if I were
it's
them,
fascinating.
I would rather sell Parker Washington on the final year of his rookie contract for a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick or whatever
Then
you
sell
could get for
BTJ.
him,
I would
sell
agree with you.
BTJ for a 1st or a 2nd.
I would agree with you, because then at that point you can kind of use Travis Hunter and Jacoby Myers interchangeably in the slot. And you have BTJ as your main X outside wide receiver. Like, I think fundamentally that would make the most sense. It's just, again, like it could go any direction, and I wouldn't fault them either way.
Take, by the way, taking DJ Moore over Devontae Smith, that was bad. Like, DJ Moore could have a great season this year, but I would not do that. Devontae Smith all over DJ Moore any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
By the way, that is another guy I just saw go in the startup that I do have to raise in my rankings. I had him at 26, but
Byshell Tootin.
Byshell
Tootin. Fuck, I always say his name wrong.
Tootin or Scottaboo?
I have Tootin higher. So Tootin I raised to running back 20.
That's where I have him.
He's a start of a tier. So I have like Jacobs, Javonte, Etienne, the guys that are like clear starters, workloads. We feel good about their contracts and that kind of thing. 1 tier ahead of like this like rookies and upside players tier, with Tootin at 20, Scottaboo at 21, Harvey at 22, and then more like veteran guys like Henry and Swift and Allgeier after that.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Sneaky winner of free agency, by the way, is DeAndre Swift. I think he very well, A, could have gotten cut, and I think it would have happened before free agency if it was going to happen. And B, I think Chicago could have absolutely gone out and spent big on Kenneth Walker. Absolutely could have gone and spent, like, we heard rumors that they were super in on Travis Etienne, for example.
Yeah, they definitely could have big game hunted. And as we saw with Swift, the efficiency definitely upticked this year. So speaking of BTJ, it's like, hey, maybe in this scenario, I'm hoping BTJ gets traded, because there's no shot I'm passing on my beloved
Travis Hunter. Yeah.
I mean, 7-11 price tags. Like,
what, you're on the you're in a league right now. You have a competitive team.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Swift's on your roster and somebody offers you the 204 rookie pick. Do you take it or do you not? You can use DeAndre Swift. You're a competitive team.
Say he's my RB3. I have a very strong wide receiver core. My main 2 running backs are like McCaffrey and Kyron or something like that.
Let's say you have even better. Let's say Gibbs and McCaffrey are your 2 best running backs and Swift is your RB3 or 4.
I would say
you're going to find your lineup half the time, let's say.
Honestly, I'm probably just going to keep him for that, unless it's like a start 12 league, because then at that point I would want the upside of the rookie pick. If it's start 11 or less, I think you just go with Swift because you're guaranteed touches given the status of the team.
Yeah.
I'll take the 109.
This is a good question too. Would you, if somebody offered you a 27-1 on for Tootin, would you take it right now? And I think the answer is pretty easily for me.
Yeah, I mean, like that to me is just a lot of value.
I think that pick value is so high because of how good the class is, that I would want.
What would that pick need to be for you to like completely regret not taking it, or vice versa, to completely regret giving up Tootin? Like, probably
if someone offered me an early projected 2 in 2027, and I am of the opinion that Tootin was a good prospect,
I would take Tootin over that too.
I would as well. I think that it's worth the risk to take him over like the projected 203, 204 in next year's class. But
the question I get, it would have to be the
27-1 in my mind for better than Tootin. So that's why I would take the 27-1.
So I don't disagree. I'm just saying in theory, I would need it to be a top 9 rookie pick. If it's 10 through 12, I would probably be a little disappointed I missed out on the Tootin, Jaguars role. Because I do think he's going to be like a potential RB2 candidate this year.
He definitely could be, but I also could see them very easily picking up a Rashad
It's just the
White
liquidity
type.
play. I don't think that's a bad process whatsoever.
Yeah, and you said if you had to add to, how much would you? So I'm assuming you said, would you cash out of Tootin? So if you had to add to get to the 27 first, I'd be willing to give up a rookie 3's worth of value to do that. So whether it is a rookie 3 that you're giving up and Tootin for the first, or like a player like that's worth a rookie 3, I'd be fine doing that as well. I would not do Tootin and a 2 for a 27-1. I think Tootin's valuable enough that I probably wouldn't risk that.
And I guess we also had this conversation yesterday when Kenneth Walker signed with the Chiefs, but we basically tried to equate his market value. And we said somewhere between the 104 and the 105. In neutral situations, if I didn't have Drake May and Joe Burrow, I would take the 104 over Walker. But given the context that I do have May and Burrow in the startup, I think you can argue, like we kind of made reference to, Walker versus the 104 given the team build.
Yeah, that's fair. I actually said yesterday when we were talking about it that I would actually prefer Walker over Mendoza. So
Yeah.
if it's obviously if Tate or Lemon fell, I wouldn't. But if the 104 is equivalent to Mendoza, I would actually prefer Walker because I think there's so little running backs that you can anchor your running back core with, and a Kansas City Chiefs starter and Kenneth Walker. Like he can be an RB1 for a competitive team. Would I want him to be my RB2? Yes, but could he be an RB1 if you have enough depth and talent around him? Yeah, I think he could.
I'm just taking a look, by the way. Apparently, Ricky Jr. said Hendrickson and his team are in no rush.
Okay, well that's fun.
Ricky Jr.
Yeah, that's
several teams not previously linked are making a push for Hendrickson as well. Travis Kelce hopped on the McAfee show. Okay, cool. Are there any other signings though? Like I don't
Not
see
really,
anything in regards to signings. It's kind of a dead day.
I'm back on the clock here, and I could go with like a Laporta or like a Pitts or something if I wanted to go in the tight end route. I'm already pretty set at receiver in the team that I've drafted so far with Lamb, Odunze, Devontae Smith, and Jamison Williams. This is a 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, so I theoretically have wide receivers through the flex already. I'll grab 111 because there's not a running back on the board that I feel good about, but I do think that 111 is in the range of where Jonah Coleman, Jadarian Price would be if they get decent landing spots and draft capital. I think relatively somewhere between the 107 to 112, you should see at least one of those running backs go there. And I'm knowing that I'm just very high on Coleman, the prospect profile. I think that I'm going to end up with a lot of Coleman in general. And taking late rookie picks, he's probably going to end up becoming my go-to late round rookie pick. Late first round rookie pick, I would imagine, assuming he gets at least third round capital.
Also, I feel like the Cowboys are more than content in terms of their running back core. If Alvin Kamara got released, I would put my money honestly still on Denver, even despite bringing back J.K. Dobbins, depending on what the price is. Like if Kamara is coming for cheap, like he's not going to leave New Orleans just for any spot, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like obviously it would be such a, like we just talked about, a win-win scenario with Harvey and Dobbins. Like, is Sean Payton going to stop himself from picking up Kamara for $3 million if that's what he was asking for at the twilight of his career?
Probably not. Just an interesting thought experiment here, Danny.
Yeah.
When do you think, would you say the NFL shifted their mindset on running backs?
Like negatively or positively recently?
Like we don't value them as much to the point that we saw them slide in drafts and we saw them get paid less. Like what year do you think it
2022.
was? 2022?
Yeah.
I would probably argue it was 2021, but because
the only reason I didn't argue 2021,
drafted a bunch of running backs early in fantasy and they all flamed out. It seemed like that's when the tide sort of shifted a little bit.
Well, I was going to say the only reason I didn't say 2021 is because 2 got drafted in the first round that year.
Right, but Etienne and Najee and Javonte, who went in the top 50, were definitely viable to go that high. I wouldn't say they were overdrafted by any means. Whereas 2020, it was like Clyde went in the first round. Like to me, the 2021 was the first. But either way, I have a point on this. I'll get to in a second. I don't really love the board at the moment. I could go with the rookie 112, which is maybe where I'm leaning. Dalton Kincaid's interesting, but they did bring back Dawson Knox, you mentioned this morning, right?
Yep, they re-signed
Allgeier. I'll go with Allgeier. Screw it. I think Allgeier is a decent value at this point. Okay, so here's my point. I think it was about 2021 when that shift happened. Since 2021, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 running backs have been drafted in the third round. Care to guess how many of them have ever been fantasy relevant to the point that they scored at least 10 fantasy points per game of the 11 third round drafted running backs since 2021?
So I'm trying to think. So Rachaad White was a third rounder.
Sorry, there's actually 12 if you include Caleb Johnson last year, but because
Caleb
it's only
Johnson.
been one season, I'm not going to include him.
Michael Carter, I believe, was a third rounder.
He was a fourth rounder.
He's a fourth rounder. Okay. I'm missing key third rounders.
Okay, so the guys that have hit were Devon Achane, Rachaad White,
Right. He went in the
and
third round. I forgot about Etienne.
and Brian Robinson, as far as like they've been fantasy relevant before. Brian Robinson, not a huge hit, but definitely a hit relative to third round capital if you took him where you took him. The rest of the guys have been pretty bad. So
I feel like almost more fourth rounders have hit.
My point here is I think we're a little tethered to the whole the running back got drafted on day 2 versus got drafted in the 4th or the 5th round. Because if I look at the difference between how many running backs were drafted in the 4th or the 5th round, so we go pick 103 or so after the comp picks to pick 160 or so. So like that kind of range. We're looking at a hit rate now. There's 22 running backs that have been drafted there. Michael Carter was fantasy relevant. Bucky Irving was fantasy relevant. Dameon Pierce was fantasy relevant. Kenneth Gainwell is now fantasy relevant. Ramondre Stevenson was fantasy relevant. Chuba Hubbard was fantasy relevant. And even Jerome Ford had a 12-point per game season. So we're talking about, of those 22 running backs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 had fantasy relevance. 7 out of 22 versus 3 out of 11. And we're talking 4th and 5th rounders. And by the way, this list does not include Chase Brown as well, who was drafted in the late 5th round. Like, what's the last pick of the 5th round, give or take?
Last pick of the 5th round?
175?
Like, yeah, around there. I was going to say like 180.
Okay, so if I go to pick 175, now involved in this sample is Chase Brown and Kyron Williams, who were not in it before, and Ramondre Stevenson. So now we're looking at... how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 30. Like a 33% hit rate. In terms of you're getting a fantasy relevant running back out of the 4th or 5th round, even though conventional wisdom would say, hey, 4th, 5th round, that's definitely worse than 3rd round in terms of draft capital. Like in the fantasy community, we would obviously prefer 3rd round capital running backs to 4th or 5th round capital running backs. I guess my point here is that there isn't really a difference. In terms of, like, you can argue, okay, it's still better or whatever, but I would argue that there isn't really much of a difference.
Yeah, no.
Like third round drafted running backs.
You could almost make the case that it's 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd to 5th, and then 6th, 7th.
I would argue that it's like you can like, and it is segmented this way in the running back model. It's obviously top 10 beats 1st round.
Yeah. I mean, like if you want to go super micro, like I didn't dissect.
Super micro, I would argue top 50 beats like pick 51 to 75.
You can
as
even
well,
make
like,
the case longer.
especially when you talk about the guys who hit in the early, like the guys who ended up hitting were more so early 3rd round picks than they were late 3rd round picks as well. So you can even argue like pick 50 to pick 75 is a little bit of a different tier, that late 2nd round, early 3rd round range, as opposed to the, pick 95 selected running back or whatever.
That's a good point.
Yeah, pick 40 is a good one too. Like, because normally when day 2 begins, if there's a running back prospect on the board that kind of maybe belonged to go closer to the 1st round, like a Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Javonte Williams caliber prospect, they usually come off the board pretty quickly in round 2. They're not sitting around until pick 65.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I guess my point is the traditional way of looking at the running back position has always been round 1 selected, day 2 selected, or round 2, round 3 selected. But I'm actually kind of arguing here that round 3 to 5 is essentially the same shit.
It probably is. I mean, like realistically, like you said, like not a lot of round 3 running backs, like, the pick 90, the pick 87, like those typically don't really work out.
No, and it's not necessarily just because those prospects weren't great. Like you could argue it's just, it's a sample bias, it's a small sample. Like it's just because those running backs prospects happen to not be very good. But like, I don't know, like the guys that should have went there, like often don't. Like sometimes they slide as a result of a good running back class, and going round 3 to 5 as the area gives you a little bit of a buffer for that to happen. Yeah. Like I could have argued the year that Kyron Williams and Chase Brown and Ramondre Stevenson and some of those guys came out, they absolutely could have been 3rd round picks. They just weren't.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, to be honest.
Like, especially Chase Brown. Like, I know for a fact I had a 3rd round grade on him.
Yeah, I mean, even like the Tootin Scadaboo from last year.
Yeah. Like Harvey, Tootin, and Scadaboo were all the same caliber of prospect, in my opinion. I actually had Tootin and Scadaboo ahead of Harvey. So
same.
The fact that they went in round 4 and Harvey went in round 2, it's like, I don't think we should overly punish those guys for going as late as they did, because it's ultimately the same level of access that you have to a workload, basically. Unless you're a 1st round pick or a top 50 pick, you're probably competing in the backfield.
Yeah, so maybe that's telling if Emmett Johnson goes in the top 64 or top 75 and Jonah Coleman's a 4th round pick. It's like,
Yeah.
some people might actually change their minds. Like, oh, well, Emmett
Yeah,
Johnson
because they're
on
going to
day
go,
two,
I'll take
therefore
Emmett Johnson over Jonah
Jonah
Coleman
Coleman.
because I prefer a third-round drafted running back to a fourth-round drafted running back. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that would exactly be how the
I
market
hope that
would react.
happens, actually. I hope it happens.
I hope it happens too. And like if I narrow it down more too, because if I go to the between pick 75 and between pick like 103, the guys that have been drafted there, like it's not a good list, man. Not even just the last couple years. Like historically, it's not a good list. Like we got Kareem Hunt, Devon Achane, Rashad White, Zach Moss, who was like a handcuff the year he was good, Brian Robinson, and Damian Harris. That's pretty much it. Out of like 20 plus running backs and some of the biggest busts in rookie draft history, like Caleb Johnson, Marshawn Lloyd,
oh God,
Keyshawn Vaughn,
you know that guy well,
Tyrion Davis Price, Trey Sermon, like just really bad.
Ty Davis Price was an industry plant. You can't convince me otherwise. Like what? How was he a day 2 pick?
I can argue right now that Ty Davis Price and Mike Washington aren't that different because they were both big and fast.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far with Mike Washington.
But again, when you narrow it on a granular level like that, and you go, okay, pick 33 to 50, like who are the running backs that went there versus the picks 51 to 64? Like it's a wagon of a list. Pick 33 to 50, we have a hit rate of all but one guy hitting a top 24 season. Every single one except one guy, and it was Jonathan Brooks, who blew his knee out twice.
Yeah, and don't worry, once you revise that in a few years, he will have joined it.
Yeah, like the worst picks here are Kerryon Johnson and Ronald Jones, who both had a 12-plus point per game season. That's crazy. But again, you look at this and you go, okay, Kerryon Johnson, Ronald Jones, that's not good. They were drafted that high and they weren't good picks. Okay, well, the prospect model has them listed as the worst running backs to ever be selected that high. So at least it's on track. Like the best running backs to be selected that high are Jonathan Taylor, Joe Mixon, Javonte Williams, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Trevion Henderson, Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Quinshon Judkins. Like those are all good picks. Top 50 capital, but not in the first round is almost like the sweet spot for running back draft capital.
Yeah, by the way, Jared, I did see that. I mentioned at the top of the stream actually that Rashad White and the Seahawks apparently were in conversation.
You talked about Jonathan Brooks. Do I want to take him here yet? No, that's too early. It's 202 and shit's on the board. I'm going to take the 202.
Oh my, you know, Adam Farrell, like the parody account.
Yep.
He tweets out Dak Prescott on his split from Sarah Ramos. I can't wish her the best or else she would be end up with me. That's literally a Kanye quote.
That's funny.
I can't wish her the best or else she would end up with me.
Yeah. And like, Danny, to give you an idea of the late second round, 9 running backs in the prospect model have been selected pick 51 through pick 64.
Yep.
And there's some guys here, J.K. Dobbins, Miles Sanders, James Cook, I guess are good hits. I mean, Cook for sure, but Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins are fine. But like you also have like the Darius Geises and the Cam Akers and the A.J. Dillons of the world and R.J. Harvey from last year as well. Like where it's like, yeah, you were a second round pick, but like you're not on the same level as like Joe Mixon and Jonathan Taylor as a second round pick.
Yeah, no, I don't agree.
I don't know. That's why I have it segmented this way in the prospect model is that I don't view pick 41 and pick 63 as the same caliber of draft capital.
By the way, in my predictions, I had DNP listed next to his name. So who knows?
You did. What
receiver would you give up for Jonah Coleman? Well, there's context to that. Shout out Arthur. There is context to that because it's like, are you a young team trying to get younger, get rid of a vet receiver? Or are you, trying to transition a young wide receiver into a Jonah Coleman because you need running back production? Like there is a lot of context. No pun intended, obviously, because Arthur just commented that.
Yep.
And I'm about to be on the clock here. Jalen Warren was a target at this point, so unfortunate that he went.
We'll see where context exchange.
We'll see where Highbush goes here, but I kind of want to talk about something, so I hope he doesn't snipe me.
What receiver would you give up for Coleman? Right. Pretty much anybody in the like late first round range. Like I'd be willing to trade, Terry McLaurin, Michael Wilson, Devontae Adams, even for a guy like Jonah Coleman. Again, assuming he gets a decent landing spot. Like you can argue for sure that the landing spot is way more important than if they get drafted in the 3rd round or the 4th round. Like, I'll take 4th round in a good landing spot like the Commanders, where Jonah Coleman can earn value and volume, than 3rd round to the Texans, where he's behind David Montgomery.
Hey, Corey, we haven't talked about this guy yet, so I may as well just talk about the fact that he's tight end 11 off the board here. You did get a good contract there. Goes back with John Harbaugh. Even with me having Loveland here and a tight end premium, getting Isaiah Likely at the 11-11, like, where's he going to be ranking in terms of redraft rankings? Realistically, top 8 to 12 option?
The thing that I'm a little worried about with him is just the snaps.
Ton of target opportunity.
Him and Aronde Gadsden are going to be very similar redraft bets next year.
They moved off of Wandale to get him, pretty much.
I know,
so, like,
I know,
he's
and
play
that's
a lot
good.
of
You
slot.
can use him as a big slot receiver if they don't address the slot receiver position in the draft or later in free agency. That would be bullish for Likely. I guess my question is, Theo Johnson was one of the highest route participation tight ends in the league last year, and does he walk away and have no route participation now?
I think we're going to see a lot of 12 personnel. That's what I think my response is. They don't have a prime slot receiver outside of maybe moving Malik Neighbors in there. Realistically, you let Wandale go, who had how many targets the last couple of years? Like,
a lot.
I'm looking at Isaiah Likely, and I'm like, he's got talent. He's now got money, and I do think he's got the opportunity to be the number 2 in his offense.
Yeah,
and
I think
I'm the Cowboys fan. I'm the Cowboys fan, man. I am not drafting Jake Ferguson at his value. I'll just say that. I think it's more likely he's not a Cowboy next year.
Where he goes in Dynasty right now.
I think he's
in redraft. It's possible he'll get overinflated because he had such a great start to the season last year that people might be taking him as a top 10 redraft tight end or something.
Yeah.
But in Dynasty, I think he's fine where he goes. I don't view him as like a bad option by any means.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like, he's not terrible where he goes, but also, like, there's not a lot of home run upside there. I think realistically, yeah, he might, luck his way into another top 12 season, but clearly lost a step. He's not making people miss in the open space. He's making way too many mistakes. The Cowboys do have a note on his contract after the year, which he's either going to have to take a substantial pay cut or he's probably not going to be back with the team.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. I just want to say one last thing on Ferguson. Like, this is where I'm at. Like, before his MCL injuries, like, he actually, like, to me, he was making people miss yards after catch threat. After his rookie year, I literally said, I'm like, we're good. We don't have to re-sign Dalton Schultz because I do think Ferguson could take that role. He hasn't been the same player since his knee injury.
He didn't have a ton of juice before, too. It's kind of
that's the thing. He looks like he runs like he's stuck in mud. He looks like he's a 4.9 runner at this point.
And he was a 4.8 runner before that, wasn't he? Or a 4.7.
4.7.
Like that?
Well, like, the last time I fully saw him look like himself was that playoff game against Green Bay. So you do the math there. He gets hurt in 2024, comes back this past year. Sure, he scores touchdowns. He's good in fantasy, but he averaged what? Fucking 8.3 yards per reception. He was moving like fucking 36-year-old Witten out there.
Yeah, well, and think about another guy that's kind of in the same position as TJ Hawkinson, who was not a super fast guy before. And since his injury, he just looks like he's stuck in mud.
Yeah, that's unfortunate with these tight ends. It's like, fuck.
That's why, like, athleticism matters so much, is that if you suffer one of these major injuries, like, we'll see how it affects George Kittle, for example, who is an elite athlete when fully healthy. It gives you a little bit of a buffer zone to be able to still be the same level or close to the same level of explosive. Because if you're just teetering on the edge of NFL athleticism for the tight end position, and then you suffer some injuries, the second you're playing through something, or the second you're dealing with something coming off of IR or something, you just look like you can't play in the NFL.
So for reference,
it's the NFL. They're always dealing with shit. They're always playing through stuff. Like, you kind of need to have a high level of athleticism baseline.
So for reference, in his second year, his first full year as a starter. So as a rookie, 22 targets. He converted 19 catches, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9.2 yards per reception. And a lot of that was coming as, tight end 2 around the line of scrimmage work. So a lot of, even despite the 9.2 yards per reception, like, almost all of it was basically coming after the catch. He has his, in my opinion, best for Ferguson. He has, in my opinion, his best season of his career in 2023. Caught 71 of 102 targets, 761 yards, 5 touchdowns, 10.7 yards per reception. Corey, he got 102 targets this year, rallied in 11 more. So he had 82 catches as opposed to 71 in his second year. And yet he had 161 less receiving yards.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm just so we have the rookie picks ranked like in and around our veterans in our Dynasty Superflex rankings on the site. I get this class isn't excellent, But like to me, the early to mid second round rookie picks are kind of undervalued because inevitably what I think is going to happen is we're going to go, man, after the 206, it just falls off a cliff. Like there's going to be enough good landing spots, enough couple good draft capital pieces for some of these wide receivers, for a couple tight ends, for maybe Ty Simpson gets into that mix, for some of the running backs that we're going to go, okay, after 204 or after 207 or after 206, there's a drop off. So to me, the early second round picks are kind of undervalued right now if people are just assuming that they're going to be horrendous players. Like I get picked 205 here. I get a good landing spot and good draft capital from a fourth round running back or a third round running back. I'll take him at 205 all day. I get a good landing spot or draft capital for Ted Hurst in the mid to late second round of the NFL draft. I'll take him at 205 all day, and I'll take him over Jawan Jennings any day of the week. Just for the upside that he turns into something big, or just if you're doing a startup right now, for the upside that you can sell that pick closer to the rookie draft for a veteran that's better than Jawan Jennings, or for a veteran that's, maybe that 205 that I just took, by the time the rookie draft comes along, it's worth 2 startup rounds earlier, and I can sell it for Chris Godwin.
Well, I will say in defense too, to be fair, I'm sure if we were in a real startup draft right now, like in this, the biggest difference between, these mock drafts and, real startup drafts is like these rookie picks wouldn't be hanging on the board as long.
I mean, it's possible they are though. People don't like this.
Let me clarify the reason why. There's going to be points where people are on the clock and they're going to be between options. And like, we can easily click on a player, make a pick in terms of like, when we're doing a mock draft. But when you're at an 8-hour clock and that's going to be a permanent member of your team, it's like, it's almost just easier taking the fallback option of let me defer this decision to the rookie draft.
Yeah, no, for sure. That definitely makes some sense.
Yeah, like realistically, like say, for example, I picked Jonathan Brooks there. If I'm on the clock, it's like, oh, I'm going to start thinking more about Jonathan Brooks's knee. And it's like, oh, what's the role going to be with you? But it's like, I'd probably overthink it a lot more to the point where I'd probably just take the security of the 205 in that spot.
Right. I mean? There's so many tight ends still on the board that I feel decent about that I'm probably just going to take a swing at.
Fair enough then, Arthur.
Trey Benson, wow. Alvin Kamara, Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's kind of interesting here. I'm going to go try. I love me some Troy Franklin. I think he's just an undervalued player. So I'll grab Troy Franklin there, who I think based on the numbers. Oh, we didn't talk about this, did we?
Don't spoil it. Let me see.
I swear to God, I predicted this.
No, you didn't.
No,
I had it for the wrong spot.
Raiders.
Isaiah Pacheco to the Lions, right?
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco is apparently signing to the Detroit Lions. That's as good news as you can get for Jahmyr Gibbs as far as a running back addition, because Isaiah Pacheco couldn't take away goal line work from Kareem Hunt, so I don't think he's taken away too much goal line work from Jahmyr Gibbs. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he's literally just a change of pace between the 20s, 10 carries per game type of fallback here.
If that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is as good of a fucking win.
You
don't have a short yardage specialist, and you also don't have a guy that can contribute on third down.
I don't really understand why you wouldn't sign somebody with a little bit better vision and instincts in short yardage. Like, I would much rather just give, a contract to Kareem Hunt at that point, where I know at least if it's 3rd and 1, he can get me a first down.
Like, let me see what other free agent running backs are still available. I'm not going to talk about the guys that are already signed, but free agent running backs,
I know
who would be a better fit. Mixon's not going to do anything. Fucking
no, if he was healthy, he'd be a better fit than Pacheco, though, because he can do.
Yeah, he's not healthy. His foot's probably falling off at this point.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather Nick Chubb at this point, to be honest, just based off the specific role that he would play on the offense. You don't need a big explosive back. You need a guy that can get you started.
B-Rob. Yeah, B-Rob's a good one. That would be a better fit.
B-Rob would have been the best. I think that's a great option there. I don't know what's going on with Khalil Herbert. He hasn't gotten really any trust in the last couple of years, but I still think there's a good player that can contribute. It almost feels like since he got traded to the Bengals a couple of years ago, he just hasn't been anything.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Like on the Bears, he was a contributor. We were liking him at the end of drafts, and then he got traded to the Bengals. I feel like he made like one mistake on a Thursday night football game, his first game there, and then never got another touch.
Yeah, pretty much. Who do you think? Who do you want to draft Jeremiyah Love the most? Just FYI, like just
for my prediction. For my prediction, Tennessee Titans.
Want him to go to.
Who would be the biggest winner spot for fantasy?
The answer is probably Washington, right?
Probably
7th overall capital. They don't have anybody in house, right? Like I would much rather him go to Washington than Tennessee or New York, which are the other two possibilities.
I still don't mind Tennessee because I do trust Dable.
I don't mind
The offensive
Tennessee, but
line's kind of a
they
mess.
do have Pollard and Spears. Like, it's not like Pollard is nothing. It's not like Spears is nothing. Like, he could factor into the backfield a little bit.
Teams should just trade up, in my opinion. I'm kidding.
Anyone but the Giants is also kind of my hope as well. The Vikings would never get Jeremiyah Love, but also that would be a really good landing spot for him. I think if I had to choose, if I had to say who I want to go where, like if I had to match make the remaining running back landing spots that don't have a guy, I would want Love to the Washington Commanders. I would want Jonah Coleman to go to the Vikings, and I would want Jadarian Price to go to the Seahawks. That would be how I would separate them. The Seahawks also would be a good spot for Love, but they're never going to get him.
Yeah, I mean, realistically now, like, how far would they have to trade up?
They'd have to get up pretty high, I think. Maybe the Washington Commanders and Giants and Titans would be like, we need defense, we need offensive line, we need wide receiver, and that's why we don't take the running back or whatever. If he started to slide a little bit to the point that at 10 or at 11 he was on the board, it's possible that the Vikings would maybe try and make a move up to get him.
Did you see,
I don't think they have a lot of picks, do they? It seems like every year the Vikings are missing like 3 picks.
Did you see, by the way, Nate Hobbs signed a 4 for 48 with Green Bay last year, and he got cut? He got cut this year?
Yeah, I did see that. Actually, the Vikings do have some compensatory picks that they were just awarded, though, because of Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones leaving in free agency. So, I mean, if you're Minnesota and Miami's on the board at 11, and Miami's in a position where they're looking for picks, they're looking for assets, you can trade up using your 3rd round compensatory pick. What is Minnesota pick 16, 18? Pick 18.
Yeah.
Pick 18 plus pick 82 and pick 97.
That's not getting you up in the top 6.
82 and 97?
No,
2/3?
not even close. Not even close.
11?
You're going to have to give up, maybe 11, but
that's
he's
what
not
I'm saying. He slides to Miami. Miami doesn't want to take him because they need capital, and you give him 18, 82, and 97.
Yeah, if I'm Miami, I'm just taking the cornerback there, if that's the offer.
I mean, you could still get a corner and also add 2 third-round picks to an offense that is pretty, or to a team that's pretty desolate as a roster.
I guess if Delane didn't fall or something like that, like
what if the Chiefs take Delane at 9?
Sure, like in a worst case scenario, maybe they do. I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, I think it's semi possible that the Vikings could maneuver up the board for Jeremiyah Love. They have pick 49 too. They could use their 2nd round pick and know that they have 2/3 and be like, hey, it sucks losing our 2nd, but we get a running back who can anchor our offense, and we, maybe they trade up with 18 and 49 to pick 11, and they get like a 5th back on top of pick 11 or something.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening.
Who would you rather have long-term, Walker or Cook? I think I'd rather have Cook. I just think he's a better player than Walker. Not that I don't think Walker's a good player. I just think that the Bills, to me, feel like with Brady there, that's their identity. And James Cook has a guaranteed role in the goal line. He can, deflect off any running back competition in the backfield. He seemingly is just more consistent between the tackles. Receiving approach wise, I think they're both pretty similar. Walker maybe has a slightly higher ceiling as a receiver between the two of them because we don't know how they're going to use him that way. But I think I would just take kind of like the bird in the hand with Cook there of the two of them. But they're RB 6 and 7 for me in Dynasty respectively.
Yeah,
like they're very close.
Same spots for me, like in that order too. Cook and then Walker at 7.
I'm back on the board here. I don't have a tight end yet. I'll take Mason Taylor. I know he's on the Jets and no one gives a fuck about him, but I'll take Mason Taylor there. I think in startups, and again, people are going to be in our listener league with us. You guys know my strategy in startups. I would much rather take Mason Taylor.
I just don't know if Mason Taylor alone is going to be palpable as your only starter.
No. What I would do is take Mason Taylor here. 2 rounds from now, take David Njoku, and then 3 rounds from now, take Juwan Johnson and Hunter Henry. And I have 4 tight ends that I can interchangeably use on a week-over-week basis. And maybe I get lucky and I hit on a Rondé Gadsden like I did last year in many leagues, or I hit on Tucker Kraft like I've done in a couple years past as well. I just like taking swings on the tight end position because to me, every year we get to a point on the draft board where the running backs and wide receivers suck. There's no starting quarterbacks left. And it almost feels like your best chance at a positional advantage is to just take a tight end who's on the board still. And you're like, okay, well, is Hunter Henry going to be great? Probably not. But could he be a starting top 12 level tight end in fantasy next year? Yeah, he could be.
In 2 of my startups, I didn't take a tight end. That's typical.
Booty clap king going with Shadur Sanders there. In two of my startups, I didn't take a tight end. That's crazy. Startups.
In two of my startups.
In two of my startups. I do have a hard out in about 15 minutes here, and I need to eat something before I go get my haircut. So let's just wrap up the draft and talk through it. It's also, we have absolutely no news to talk about. We didn't really get any signings coming through. I think tomorrow it's possible we get a lot more signings and whatnot. So maybe later in the week we'll push the skyrocketing and plummeting, because we don't know where Kyler Murray is going to go yet. We don't know where Romeo Doubs is going to go yet. There's a couple guys out there. I don't love my running back core, but I did take 111, 202, and 205 in the rookie draft. So I probably would just fill out my running back core with some of those players. If I could add a Jonah Coleman and a Jadarian Price, or a Jonah Coleman and a, Katron Allen to this running back core, I'd feel pretty good about that.
Hey, Corey, if you're the tight end hater, AJ is the tight end lover.
I'm still never going to forgive him for finally convincing me to take a late rookie pick for Dalton Kincaid, who would ended up becoming Tyler Warren.
No, bro. AJ, I swear, every league I'm in just has a stacked tight end core. He's got like 3 of the top 8 options.
Oh, dude, my don't give a flock team, I have like 6 startable tight ends. Like Travis Kelce's like my tight end 4, and it's a 2x tight end premium. I'm like, I'll flex him every week. I don't give a shit.
It's literally the same shit with Tone Setter Truthers. Like, let me take a look here. I apparently have to log in on my fucking PC. Okay.
Sleeper is really weird sometimes with how it makes you do stuff.
Okay, now I'm just logged in apparently, even though it literally said it that I had to log. Okay, I don't understand. So I have in that league Ferguson, Goddard.
It's flocking right. Actually, don't give a flock.
Ferguson, Goddard, Tyler Warren, AJ Barner, and I had another one. Oh, it was Darren Waller in season, but he's useless now.
Is flocking right a Devy league or a dynasty league?
What? Flocking right is the Devy league, right?
I think, right? It's hard to keep track.
If it's the one I have in Joku, then yeah.
Actually, it is, yeah.
Yeah. I got Bowers in that. Yeah.
You ever like not look at your Devy core for a long time, and then now that you know like some of the hype and where the draft capital is going to be, you go, that's actually not bad.
I have 2 Devy ones. Wait, no. Is Devy 1 in the 4th or the 3rd or the 5th?
Devy 1 is the 4th, I think.
Okay, then I have 3 Devy seconds. But no Devy 1.
In this flock and right league, Danny, my Devy core is Denzel Boston, Jacoby Lane, Ahmad Hardy.
What the fuck?
And then Drew Aller and Jay Knott, who are probably nothing. But they're not going to go.
Is the Devy list posted anywhere? Because
it might be somewhere.
Yeah, okay, I found it. Sorry, the file you have requested has been deleted.
Okay, well that's fun.
Is Sir King Jared in here?
Maybe he moved it to a different file.
What the fuck? Am I tripping? Whoever's in the league, can you put the link down there?
Let me see if I can see it.
Bylaws have been deleted too. What the fuck?
I'm sure Jared's not deleting them.
No, I figured, but like that's just weird. It's not.
Yeah, the file you requested does not exist for the bylaws. I see that.
There's just no way I'm last.
Is
that by Corey's rankings or by? Is that by yours or by the consensus?
This is by the consensus. If I go by one of ours, you are still last.
Is that yours or mine?
These are by mine. I guess the quarterback core is really weighing you down. I mean, the team is a competitive team, but just in terms of overall startup value, I guess that's where you're losing points there because you drafted competitive quarterbacks.
I don't even know who my Devies are in this. Then maybe I have nicknames for them in my fucking thing.
Yeah, if you go to your defensive players on the bench, that's probably where you would find them.
Keelan Russell. Oh, I have Keelan Russell, the quarterback from Alabama, who's going to take over for Simpson this year. And I have what's his face, running back Florida State, Chroma.
Oh, okay. In Devy Disciples, I have Le'Veon Moss, Malachi Fields, and Trey Wisner, and Mekhi Hughes. Yeah, this Devy pool sucks.
Oh my God. Don't get me started with fucking Mekhi Hughes, bro.
Mekhi Hughes just ruined my life. And then in Devy Degeneracy, I have John Mateer, Khalil Lockett, who didn't really get on the field for Texas much this year. I have Ahmad Hardy in this league, and I'm a back-to-back champion, so you love to see that. Jaden Greathouse, who I think probably has a pretty nice year for Notre Dame this year, unless he transferred. I can't remember if he transferred out. And then Nick Anderson, who transferred to Kentucky, but he's a fucking junk bond status at this point.
Nick Anderson.
Nah, bro, it got wiped. Haven't heard from Jared. Okay, yeah, Jared, if you watch this, if you see this at some point, get after us in terms of what's going on with the Devy pool. I know he's around. He applied to be in the new listener league, so I'm sure he's.
Oh man, my Devy pool hasn't aged the greatest in degeneracy. Darius Taylor should have been better than what he'll
be fine in next year's class. He just went back.
Hope so. Coleman's been good. I'll take Jonah Coleman. Cam Coleman, potentially wide receiver 2 next year. I'll take that.
Oh, yeah.
I drafted Garrett Nussmeier with higher hopes. Don't get me started with the Yamaleva. That guy stinks. Fucking Nicholas Yamaleva. Oh my God. I got Wesco though. Bryant Wesco, Clemson wide receiver. He's had pretty promising last couple years. Too. I mean, you haven't watched him, but that's fine.
I watched him. I saw him when I was watching Antonio Williams.
I wouldn't consider that watching him.
No, I wouldn't. But Cam Coleman and Jonah Coleman and those guys are much better.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's better than those guys. I'm just saying he's got a decent profile. Makai Hughes, I have no clue what the fuck he is.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of him at all. Who's the high fiber player of fantasy? High fiber. Who runs like they're gonna shit themselves?
I thought he was just talking about who's a dog shit player because fiber.
Who's a dog shit player? No, I'm thinking who high fiber is and their systems are running good. I think Le'Veon Moss runs like he's about to shit himself a little bit. I just watched and graded him today, so he's a high fiber player for me. A lot of substance there.
AJ, this isn't flocking right. I was reading out. This is degeneracy and pain. I also took the L on Bryson Washington. Remember that guy?
Yeah, he could have a bounce back year. It's not completely dead yet. Having Ahmad Hardy in two of the 4 Devy leagues that we're in feels pretty good to me. Are we in 4 or 3 Devy leagues?
Also, am I
blocking right? Devy Degeneracy and Devy Disciples are the only Devy leagues we're in, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so stupid. It's 2023 Devy draft was saved, but I'm like, what the fuck? Whose Devy draft is this? And then I realized I think when Ron made this file, he put our old Devy Disciples draft in there for a reference when we did the 2025 draft. Because there's 2 draft files in here, and one of them is the 2025, in which, oh man, I took fucking Makai Hughes and Cade Klubnik over Makai Lemon.
Oh, that's bad.
But you took John Mateer over Makai Lemon.
Yeah, that's really bad too.
Oh, man.
I thought John Mateer had a chance to be QB1 this year. I was swinging for the fences there. I think here's the moral of the story for me sometimes with Devy, Danny, is QB is such a fucking crapshoot that you probably should take them early.
Dog, what am I doing?
Because I took in our Devy Disciples, I took Jackson Dart and Shadur Sanders with my 6th round picks in the startup. So yeah. I think if you're going to swing on quarterback, you should just do it in volume at the end of the draft and hope you get lucky and get a 1st-round quarterback out of it. And you should maybe stick to the profiles that have some development on the running back and wide receiver side. Because to me, with Makai Lemon,
in the last round,
I knew Makai Lemon was a good prospect too. I should have fucking taken him.
You got fucking Ahmad Hardy in the last round too, and I'm taking fucking absolute cones. Bryson Washington.
When did I take Ahmad Hardy?
In the last round, 412.
I got Ahmad Hardy in the last round. You guys are baked.
I mean, that was before everything.
He was sick at Lafayette, though. He was like the #1 graded running back in the country.
He didn't have a 3-down profile at Lafayette. I think that was the worry.
I mean, he doesn't really now, to be honest.
Fair.
But he's definitely favorite for RB1 next year, for sure.
Who else is in the class?
College QBs are really hard to hit on, man. Especially people who are taking high school quarterbacks like Bryce Underwood or whatever out of college. I'm like, you are wasting a draft pick taking them over.
I mean, let's see what Underwood looks like.
Are going to be fucking 1st-round running backs and receivers.
I mean, let's see what Underwood
people
looks like.
People took Bryce Underwood over Amari and Hampton, dude. I don't want to hear it.
I mean, we'll see what he looks like.
What are the chances Bryce Underwood's anywhere close to the value of Amari and Hampton at any point in his career?
We'll see, bro. We'll see. Big year this year. But
anyways, I got to sign off of here, so we should probably wrap this up.
We must have had another initial startup draft that was in 2024 because this was a supplemental.
Yeah. Is this Degeneracy you're referring to?
So who went in the start? Yeah. Who went in the startup of that league then?
I remember in the startup, I know Alec Manor was one of my picks. I remember I took him in the startup.
Interesting.
Ollie Gordon was one of my picks. Amari and Hampton and Travis Hunter I took in the startup as well. Ollie Gordon was my first pick, but I bailed myself out by taking Amari and Hampton in the second round, and then I took Travis Hunter in round 6, and I traded them to you and ended up getting all of those competitive assets from you.
And I got Hampton and stuff. Yeah. Ex-NFLer Darren Lee used Chat GPT for advice after allegedly killing his girlfriend.
Yeah, he's
dumbass.
Quan Lacey. Yeah, Quan Lacey could be RB1 next year as well, but Hardy is just a fucking freak show based on what I saw from him.
Let's not discount a healthy Isaac Brown too. He's definitely in that combo.
Yeah, Isaac Brown. There's dudes in next year's class like LJ and Darius Taylor going back to school also helps that running back class. But anyways, we have plenty of time to talk about the 2027 class later this week. Probably we'll make a video on it. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll see what happens for signings and whatnot tomorrow. Maybe
hasn't been anything today.
Yeah, maybe we'll be live again. Maybe we'll do a skyrocketing video. We don't exactly know at this point, but we will have you covered with skyrocketing and plummeting whenever we deem it necessary that there's been enough signings that we can talk about those position groups in totality. And again, if you do want to get into our new listener league, it's pinned in the chat. It's also in the description of this video. Sign up 1 ballot for free subscribers of ours and up to 5 ballots for site subscribers with code FSE only. And of course, our second edition of our draft guide is coming out 5 days from now, another 15 player profiles live. And we'll have more videos live by the end of the month once we get through the pro day cycle and whatnot, because we don't have testing numbers on a lot of these guys. But you guys are going to have 50 plus player profiles and videos by the time you get to your rookie drafts in May. So definitely check out the rookie draft guide. That is over on flockfantasy.com, promo code FSE as well. And of course, you get a free annual team review if you sign up annually. Plus, you get those 5 ballots to get into the listener league if you really want to get into a league with us. We will be drawing that on Sunday. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace out. We'll talk to you soon.